Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yashai Barakatham. To all the brothers, Yahweh Shemar Lakam Bashem Yashai. To all the sisters, Troops and Officer 1000 Zabaja of the I.S.U.P.K. under Commandant General YAHANNA. Started out in 1969, 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. This is the I.S.U.P.K. Canada Sabbath service. And today, as we're having this Sabbath service, today we're also closing out the Feast of Unleavened Bread, right? We got some unleavened bread right here, right? We're also closing out the Feast of Unleavened Bread today. And then tonight, we will be going into the Feast of First Fruits. Right, so today we're going to continue our reading, our weekly reading. We're in Genesis, the 32nd chapter. But before we do that, we're going to open up the Sabbath service. SHALAM, which means to Israel. Men of Israel, Akwafi and watching. Imagine, which means to stand. Sarapanya HaKodam, which means turn and face the east. We're going to go into the prayers. We're going to start with the Lord's Prayer, right? And Salakia. As you go on into the truth, you're going to realize that saying these prayers in the morning before you start your day, it just gives you the strength to fight all your demons, right? It gives you the strength to fight everything the world is going to throw at you. And Satan wants you to, he's testing you. He's doing what you say you're in the truth, Satan's going to come and check you. He's going to test you. So here, let's get these prayers. We're going to start with the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. The Lord's Prayer, you can find it in Matthew chapter 6, verses 8 to 13. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayam, Kodash, Hayat, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Sabbath, Ratazaka, Hayat, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Hayat, Bashamayam, Lathan Lanawa, Lakam, Ka, Yawam, Wasalak Nawa, Kabwaf Nawa, Kasalak Nawa, Kabwaf Nawa, Wala'a, Sabaya Nawa, Wanasai Wan, Abal, Hawashai Nawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Amalakwa, Wahala, Wahasaparat, La'ai Walamyam, Aman. In English, what we just read. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Yahweh. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever so be it. Akkad, the prayer for power. Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Babakashah, Lathalanawa, Akkad, Akkad, La Pa'a, Kamakala, Wakal Madawa, Haka, Latahar, Ha Matazarayam, Haka, Laha Kayam, Ha Matayam, Haka, Awakawa, Ha Mata'ala, Lagarshar, Ba'asham, Yahweh, Tuwara Aman, what we just read in English. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you, so be it. We're going to read Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayanya, Ahahariam, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ah, Isaiah, Ma'ayim, Yahweh, Aisha, Shamayam, Wa'arataza, Al-Yathan, Lamawat, Regalka, Al-Yanawam, Shamarka, Na, La'ah, Yanawam, Wala'ah, Yayashan, Shawamar, Yasha'ala, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al-Yad, Yamyanka, Ya'amam, Hashamash, La'ah, Yakaka, Wayarak, Bala Yala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makal Rai, Yashamar, Atnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Tazaatka, Wabawaka, Salake, Wa'aka, my thought, I will love. In English, I will lift up my eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee, will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Yasha'Allah shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in, from this time forth and even forevermore. The prayer for the power structure. Barakatah Yahweh. Wa Yahweh Shai. Wa Mayakala. Wa Alahaya. Matazav Ayah. Alawap Yahanna. Ha Alawapyam. Ha Saranyam. Ha Kwatazayanyam. Ha Kayalyam. Ha Akwafyam. Yahweh. Ba'asham. Yahweh Shai. Tuwada Aman. In English, bless you, Yahweh, and Yahweh Shai, and Michael, and the angels, Commanding General Yahanna, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you, so be it. We're going to read 2 Chronicles. Bless Israel. Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Barak Lanawa, Wa Yahsha'Allah, Waha Bayat Sapariyam, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Tuwara Aman. In English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, bless us and Yasher Allah and the school. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you, so be it. Aki, I'm sorry, which means turn, you may be seated. Akwafi, I'm sorry, you may be seated. All right. So we're going to be going into Genesis, the 32nd chapter, right? And this is after Jacob, he gets his wives, he gets his children, and he leaves Laban. As you read Genesis, the 31st chapter, you find out that Laban's just been unbrotherly to Jacob, right? And he's had enough. He wants his wives and his possessions, and he's going to leave, right? And yes, I did say wives, right? Jacob had 4 ribs. He had 4 women, and they gave him 12 sons and daughters, right? And that's something the Christian church, like the Christians, they neglect everything about this Bible, right? If it's in the Bible and the Lord didn't have a problem with it, then the Lord doesn't have a problem with it now, right? Christians will say, well, we're not in that time, right? And they'll say something like, listen, the Christian's going to say, we're not in that time and we have to abide by the law of the land. Well, the law of the land says, according to our precedent, marriage is on a piece of paper. There is no paper or ring that you sign in the Bible, right? It says you and your rib make a covenant. You tie fire to your rib. Y'all have an agreement, and that agreement is a lifelong agreement, according to our king, a black king, Yahweh Shai. Right? It's a lifelong agreement. Christians will say, well, that's not the law of the land. Salakia. The law of the land in Canada, 2 men can marry. Christians, are you following that law? 2 men can marry. If you are not following that law, I do not ever want to hear about the law of the land again from a Christian. We follow the law of Yahweh. Hey, shalom, priest. Yahweh Shem Yashabrakatha, Balaya. Priest lawyer, Adiyah in here, the water. Right, so we're going to be going into Genesis, the 32nd chapter. I'm going to read it in the Hebrew, and then we're going to be breaking it down. And make sure you tune in tonight as we go into another feast day. We got a class at 8 o'clock tonight. We'll be going into another feast day. Right, stay tuned. So let's get into it. I'm going to read in Genesis, the 32nd chapter, the first 7 verses in the Hebrew. Then I'm going to read 7 verses in the English, and we're going to break it all the way down. Right? We're going to do what your Christian pastor won't do, what your Nation of Islam leader won't do, what your imam won't do, or whichever disgusting so-called leader you follow. If it's not of the I.S.U.P.K, run. Run for the hills. Run right into a classroom. Run right to YouTube and type in No Cowards Canada or One West online classes. That's what you want to do if it's not the UPK. Right? So we're gonna read it. Right? This is Genesis the first chapter. Genesis 32, the first chapter. So okay, let me make sure I'm at the right spot. All right. YAHANNA Laban. So okay, 1 second. Waya Young. Salakia. Waya Shemam. Laban. Barak. Wayan. Waya na Sha. Laba na Wa. Wala. Salakia. Wala ba wa ta ya. Waya ba ram. Thaham. Waya lam. Waya shaba. Salakia. Waya shab. Laban. Lam. Kuma. Salakia. Lama Kwam Wa. Verse 2. Wayai Kwa. Laham. Lada Rama. Ramwa. Salakia. Waya Pagai Wa. Bawa. Mila Maya. Alahaya. Verse 3. Waya Amar. Yaquab. Ma'a Shai. Ra'am. Mka Na. Alahaya. Za. Waza. Waya Kwa Ra. Sham. Hama Kwa Wam. Haha Wa'a. Makan Yam. Verse 4. Waya Shalak. Yaquab. Mala'am Yam. Lapan Yawa. Al. Aishawa. Aka Zawa. Ara Salakia. Ara Taza. Sha'ai Yar. Shada. Ada Ma. Salakia. Ada Wam. Adawam. Verse 5. Again, we're in Genesis 32, verse 5. Waya Tazawa. Atham. La'amar. Ma. Ta'a Ma. Mara. 1. La'a the Naya. La'ai Shua. Ma. Asham. Salaki Amar. Ibada. Ibadawam. Salakia. Ibadam. Yaquab. Ain. Laban. Gavra. Taya. Wa'a Kara. Itha. Verse 6. Waya Haya. Laya. Shawad. Wakam Wad. Taza'an. Wa'ai Bad. Washapaka. Wa'a Shala. Salakia. Wa'a Shala. Ka. Lahad. Yad. La'a Denaya. Lama Taza'a. Kai. Ba'ai Yana Yam. Verse 7. Waya Shaba. Ma Hawa Salakia. Hama La'a Mayam. Al Yaquab. La'a La'aman, Banawa, Akayam, Aisha, Wagam, Laham, Lakwa, Ra'a, Thumb, Wa'ara, Ba'ai, Ma'a, Wa, Ayash, Mawa. I read. So what we just read was Genesis 32, the 32nd chapter, verses 1 to 7. Right? And now we're going to break it down in the English. Right? Ooh wee, let me get a piece of that unleavened bread. Mm. Nothing like this unleavened bread, man. Salakia. With a little bit of honey. Salakia. Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh wa Yahweh Shah for this unleavened bread. Make sure you're getting that unleavened bread in. Alright, so now we're going to read the 32nd chapter in Genesis, verses 1 to 7. Right. And now keep in mind, this is after Jacob made a deal with Laban. Laban surrounded him, right? Because Laban was looking for his items, not because he cared about his daughters, right? And Jacob went on his way, right? Jacob left Laban, and the angels of God met him. And Jacob saw some angels, right? And when Jacob saw them, he said, "This is God's host." Right? He knew that this was the power, this was the host of the power, right? The power that had Jacob, that made the covenant with Jacob, that made the covenant with Abraham and Isaac. These were his hosts. And he called the name of that place Mahanaim. Right? That's what Jacob named that place. Jacob, the men of the Lord have always been naming everything. The oppressor has gone around the world renaming everything, right? But if you notice, when you look at their alphabet looks exactly like the ancient Hebrew, right? Verse 3. And Jacob sent his messengers before him to Esau, his brother, right? So now Jacob's going back home. He knows his brother is around, right? So he sent his messengers to his brother because his brother wanted to kill him. His brother made a vow that he was going to kill him, right? Because there was a point when Jacob, now when you think about our oppressor is such a greedy bastard, such a carnal, I only care about right now what's in front of me, right? There are billionaires in the earth racing to space. They're racing to space because they have billions of dollars. They made it off the suffering and slavery of the children of Israel. That they get to shoot rockets into space. They get to charge hundreds of thousands of dollars to go into the outer atmospheres and stratospheres of the earth just for 10 minutes just to come back down. Right? They only care about what's in front of them. They're going to say green energy, but shoot rockets full of gas into the air. They're going to do the fracking of the earth, take out the life blood of the earth, and then wonder why there's earthquakes. They don't give a damn. Right? They're going to pour a whole bunch of disgusting nastiness into the Great Lakes of Canada, where majority of our clean water comes from on the west. Right? Just to make some money, and they don't care. And this is what Esau did, right? If we go back to Salakia. Right? If we go back to the 27th chapter in Genesis, Salakia, one second. Da, 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 da. Right. Let's go back to Genesis, the 25th chapter, right quick. I'm going to just read it for you real quick. This is Genesis 25 and 9. And Jacob saw pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. Right? Let's jump down. Esau wanted some food. He basically said, when you go to 30, and Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Listen, the food wasn't cooked properly. It still had the blood in it. Right? And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright, and Esau did it. We jump now forward to Genesis, the 27th chapter, verse 41. After Jacob gets the birthright that Esau sold, we go to 41, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father is at hand. This is after the father his father, he's basically saying, after our father passes, right, then will I slay my brother. He's saying, I'm going to kill you, right? So this is why we have Jacob going to send messengers to meet his brother right now, because he said he's going to slay him. Ooh, let me get some more of this unleavened bread. Right. Let's get back to it. Verse 3. And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau, his brother, onto the land of Seir. Right? Now, as you read throughout the scriptures, you're going to find out that the land of Seir is where Esau dwelt. Right? Right now, in the land of Seir, there are other nations there. Fake Israelites and Christians and just men who are not in the I.S.U.P.K, who don't understand this Bible. They're going to say, see, this right here shows you that the oppressor that the Bible speaks of, who we know as the Caucasian man, the same man in parliament giving billions of dollars to Ukraine while the Gadites suffer, right? Well, I have to leave my slavery in downtown Toronto and go outside and see the Gadites on corners suffering. They're giving billions of dollars to Ukraine. And some fake Israelites going to say, well, the oppressor is not. The oppressor that sits in Parliament Hill in Ottawa is not the devil the Bible speaks of. Right? To Esau, his brother, onto the land of Seir, the country of Edom. Right? Esau went and he made himself a country over there. Right? And again, he's sending messengers to meet his brother because his brother wants him dead. Verse 4. And he commanded them, saying, thus shall ye speak unto my lord Esau. Right? He's saying, listen, this is how you're supposed to speak to my brother. And this definitely worked out in the moment because, again, the oppressor, he only cares about what's in front of him and what he can get at that moment. Thus shall you speak unto my lord Esau. Thy servant Jacob saith thus, I have sojourned with Laban, and stayed there until now. He said, listen, tell him I've been with Laban for the last damn near 20 years. While you built up this land and had all these soldiers and had children. Where are we? Verse 5. And I have oxen and asses, flocks, and men servants and women servants. And I have sent to tell my Lord that I may find grace in thy sight. Now the servants are basically saying, Jacob is asking to find grace in your sight. I know you said you wanted to kill him, but that was 20 years ago. Do you still want to kill him? Are you still going to go through with what you said? That after your father's mourning, you're going to kill him. Right? And Esau, he's just trying to find grace. right? Again, grace is just a time period. A time period. Grace is it's like when you owe a cell phone bill, right? And the cell phone company, they want their money. They'll give you a little time period to pay them back. If not, they're going to cut your phone off. Jacob is asking his brother for a little bit of grace. So his brother wants to kill him. This is his nature. Esau was a cunning hunter. Esau's still killing us till this day because we have that birthright, right? They're still killing us till this day because we have that birthright. Verse 6, and the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, we came to thy brother Esau, and also he cometh to meet thee. Now check this out, right? Jacob's servants said to Esau, Jacob has servants and cattle and all this for you, right? And he just wants to find grace. And Esau said, yeah, I'm coming to meet him. Here's the kicker. And also he cometh to meet thee, and 400 men with him. Esau was coming to meet Jake with 400 men. A man that said, I'm going to kill my brother, is now going to meet his brother with 400 men. Right? Now that doesn't sound brotherly. That sounds like you're trying to have a battle. Like you're going to war because you might think your brother has that much men as well. Yeah. Ooh wee. Unleavened bread and coffee in the morning. Now listen, I think I found my new favorite combination. I'm gonna have to make this unleavened bread every morning before slavery with a strong coffee to drink. Verse 7. Then Jacob was greatly afraid. And he was definitely afraid because his brother said he wanted to kill him, right? Because his brother sold something. And then when he realized it was gone, because he didn't really care about it, that's when he wanted it back. That's when he was a child. Our oppressor is children, right? A child, now, for people with parents, Salakia, for brothers and sisters with children, you've seen this all the time. One of your children has a toy that they're not playing with. Their sibling picks it up. That's when he wants that toy back. That's when she wants that toy back, right? Our oppressors are children. Esau sold his birthright. When he realized how good his birthright was, and it wasn't until after, right? Because he had a bunch of time to get Jake to sell it back to him. But that wasn't the prophecy, right? Yasha Allah is supposed to be in power. Yasha Allah, Israel, has the birthright, right? That's when he realized he wanted it back. Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him. Now Jacob, he had his family with him, and he divides them, right? And this is Jacob, at this moment, this is a chess move, right? This is where they get this saying, don't keep all your eggs in one basket, right? That's what you get when you read Genesis, the 32nd chapter, verse 7. Don't keep all your eggs in one basket. Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him, and the flocks, and the herds, and the camels into two bands, right? Two bands is two groups, right? You're familiar with a band. They got instruments, right? That's where this comes from. Two bands, instruments, drums. You got percussion. You got flutes, the flag carriers, right? You got someone with a staff at the front marching and leading that band. He divided it into two bands. He had one group, one big family. He split them in two. Right? And that's because he fears his brother is going to kill him, right? Just like they kill us every day in these streets. They kill our children They kill our mothers and our brothers, our uncles, our aunties, our sisters, right? That's what he thought his brother was going to do, because his brother was a hunter. His brother was a carnal man. Let's go back. We're going to read verses 8 to 14 now in the Hebrew. Waya Salakia. Waya Yara'a. Salakia. Waya Yara'a. Yaquab. Ma'ad. Waya Tazar. La. Waya Katazar. Ha'ain. Salakia. We're in Genesis, the 32nd chapter, verse 8, in the middle of the verse. Ashar, Thawa, Wa'at, Hataza, Ana, Wa'at, Haba, Kwa, Salakia, Haba, Kar, Waha, Gama, Layam, Lasha, Naya, Maka, Nawat. Verse 9. Waya Amar, Yaba Wa'a, Aishawa, Hama Kana, Aha Ka, Waha Ma Hawa, Waha Ya, Hama Kana, Hana Sha'ar, Lepa, Salakia, Lepa La Ya Ta. Verse 10. Waya Amar, Yaquab, Alahaya, Abaya, Abraham, Wa'a Alahaya, Ba Salakia, Abaya, Yataza, Yahweh, Ha'aman, Alahaya, Shawal, La'a, Rataza, Walad, Thumb, Wa'a Yata, Yaba, Imam. Verse 11. Qatan, Thaya, Mama, Ka, Sada, Yam, Wama, Ma, Ha'a, Ma, Ashar, Aisha, Ya, Iba, Damam, Maya, Bama, Kwalaya, Ibar, Ya, Salakia, Ibar, the Ya, Haza, Rada, Hayza, Salakia, Haya, Radan, Haza, Wa'ai, the Ha, Haya, Ya, the Ya, Lasha, the Ya, Maka, no Wat, 12, Hataza, Ya, La, Naya, Na'a, Mayad, Haka ya ma maya da Aisha maya yara yara ana maya atha wa pan yaba wa waha shanaya a bana yam 13 wa taha amara haza tab haza ta ya imam wa mafia at Isaiah Salakia Zara'im Maka Ra Hayam Ashai La'a Zatha Salakia Yasa Pi Marab, verse 14. Waya Lan Sham Vala Ya La Aha Wa Waya Kwa Mam Man Haba Waya Dewa Manaka La'ai Shua Aka Yuwa. So now we're going to read in the Hebrew Genesis 32 verses 8 to 14. And Esau said, Salakia. So his servants are relaying this message and said, if Esau come, Salakia. So what just happened previously in verse 7, Jacob split his family into two bands, two groups, right? In verse 8, Jacob's going to give the reasoning. And said, if Esau come to the one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape. Right? And this was a chess move. He thought his brother was going to kill him. Right? So he's trying to save half of his family. Thinking if one portion of the family is killed, the other half will survive. Verse 9. And Jacob said, O God of my father, Abraham, and power of my father, Isaac, the Lord which saith unto me, return unto thy country and to thy kindred, and I will deal well with thee. He's making a prayer. He's basically saying, Lord, who told me to go back to my family, back to my country, the Lord of my fathers, right? He said, return to the land and you're going to deal with me. He's crying out to the Lord. And he's bringing up the things that the Lord said to him. Verse 10. Am I not worthy of the least of all the mercies? Right? He's saying, is he not worthy of just the smallest bit of mercy? Right? And this is so UPK, right? Because in the UPK, if you came into the UPK, you changed your life, right? And all the recognitions, I'm an officer of 1,000, right? And I gotta put in more work. I still feel like I don't even deserve the rank that I have, right? You gotta put in so much work for all the nastiness and all the sinning that we did before we came here, right? That's why it's such an amazing thing to see children and the babies born in this truth. The children that will not know what sin is. They will not know what it's like to celebrate a birthday. You think about all the times, all the selfish times you celebrated a birthday, or you left a sister, or you sold some dope because you were hungry, didn't care about what happened to your brothers and sisters. Are you worthy of the smallest amount of grace, the smallest amount of mercy? Da, 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 da. And of all the truth which thou hast showed unto thy servant, for with my staff I passed over the Jordan, and now I am become two bands. Right? So with his staff, he passed over the Jordan. He went over the Jordan River to make a journey to go find a river. Right? And he's saying, I've become two bands. He's pleading with the Lord. He's praying with them, praying to him. Verse 11, deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother. Right? Because he knows his brother wants to kill him. Right? It's just like you walking down the street. Right? And this is why our pastors do a disservice to us, right? The pastors and all the leaders and all damn near all the nations, they tell us to love these people. And I had this conversation with this brother, right, at my slavery. And this brother, he in the world, right? He married to the oppressor. And he's telling me there's nothing as black and white and we're supposed to love each other. And I'm showing him, listen, we do love each other. We're supposed, black men are supposed to love each other. He said, no, listen, you can love the white man too. And I said, nah, I can't love the white man. I told him 1,000 different reasons for why I can't love the white man. He eventually he came around and he said, I understand your point, right? But the pastors and so much of our leaders, the fake leaders, the people who are greedy, they only care about filling their pockets, their plates, and their cups, and stuffing their face, and where they can place their rod, right? And who, listen, Salakia, they have women leading their congregations, and those women only care about what you can get them and who they can open their legs for, right? We're supposed to know that the oppressors want to kill us. Even when they smile up with you, they want to kill us. And I asked this brother, when you drive and you get pulled over by the police, do you get nervous? Even though you have your license and you have insurance and you're not a criminal, you're at slavery with me, so you're not selling drugs, as far as I know, right? He said, yeah, I'm not doing none of that stuff, and my shit's legit. And I said, okay, do you get nervous when the police pull you over? And eventually he said, yeah, he gets nervous, right? I said, well, that's to show you you're not supposed to love everybody. You're only nervous because deep down in your heart, you know that your oppressor wants to kill you. Jacob knew this. Our pastors are supposed to tell us that our oppressors want to kill us, right? That's what they're supposed to tell us. They're supposed to tell us that our oppressors definitely want to kill us, right? Where are we? We're in verse 11 still. For I fear him. Jacob was afraid of his brother because his brother was a cunning hunter. He said, for I fear him. Right? Least he will come and smite me. He's saying, listen, the least he will do is come and smite me. Right? And you got to think about it. The least our oppressors do is come and smite us. That's the least of what they do. What they do, they kidnap our children. They murder our children. They molest our children. We got thousands of sisters going missing every day, and no one knows where they are. Right? And they do not get the news attention. One Edomite daughter goes missing, and the whole earth goes on notice. Well, we got thousands of brothers and sisters missing right now. I seen a sister sitting on the curb outside of my slavery, and she was down bad. And I told her, check out I.S.U.P.K reservations because she's a Gadite, right? She said she's going to. I said, come, Most High in Christ, right? But there's no, the earth doesn't go on pause when she's on the sidewalk sleeping, right? But if Abigail is there, the whole earth is going to stop. Where are we? And the mother with the children. Jacob knew that this is what our oppressor does. He kills us with our children. He kills our sisters. And thou saidest, I will surely do thee good and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, right? Which cannot be numbered for a multitude. Jacob knew that we're not going to, Salakia. Jacob is bringing up the promise that the Most High made to Abraham, to Isaac, and now to Jacob, that we're going to be as the sands of the sea. We're going to be as the sands of the sea. And if you look at Israel now, you add up all the so-called Negroes, West Indians, Native Americans, right? And all so-called Hispanics. We are a large number of people. They say we're the minority when we have so much that we're actually the majority when it comes to these nations. We're in every land. We're scattered all throughout the earth. Verse 13. And he lodged there that same night, and took of which came to his hand a present for Esau his brother. Right. Now he's trying to give his brother a tribute, right? He's trying to give him a gift so he doesn't kill him. Right? And that's what you do when you're afraid. When you're afraid of someone, you go and give them a gift, and you're like, listen, here's this gift for you. I present this to you. Leave me alone. You're trying to find some grace, hoping that this man, this murderer, will have some bit of humanity towards you. You're hoping he'll show you some bit of humanity. Right? We do this all the time when we get stopped by police, or when we see oppressors. We want to smile up, and we want to act like your smile is a gift, and you want to hold the door open for him. You're just hoping that he doesn't kill you. Right? In the UPK, we are not afraid. Right? Now, listen. Jacob was afraid of his brother because he knew he was a killer. In the UPK, the Father we fear. We say, who do we fear? And you'll hear 1,000 men speak, the Father we fear, because that is our only fear. We do not do scared here. There is no scared. We go into the most dangerous places, right, to go help our brothers and sisters. We go into the most poor places. Listen, if gunshots are going off in that neighborhood, that's where I'm going. Because I know I have people there that need to be helped. I know I have people there that need to hear this truth. Again, we don't do fair. If we were afraid, Salakia, Captain Yatazak, right? He wouldn't have took the men out of Texas into cartel country. Right? He would have took them deep into Mexico cartel country, to, well, not deep, but on that border, cartel country. The cartel really runs the border of Mexico. That's where all the cocaine that the oppressor loves to stuff in his face comes from. Right? And our brothers and sisters, they're oppressed. So they think that's the only way to get this money. We pray that our brothers and sisters wake up before it's too late. Right? But if we were afraid, you wouldn't have I.S.U.P.K Texas, right? All the schools in the state of Texas get money together in caravans of supplies to go feed the Haitian brothers, the tribe of Loya on that border, right? We didn't see no Christians do it. After we did it, the Christians went up and they tried to do it, and the Lord was not with them. He wouldn't even let them in the country, right? But the UPK, who the Lord is with, they were in that country. They were in the most dangerous place. All right, again, we don't do fair, right? And again, Jacob, he brought what was within his hand, all the things that he got to present it to his brother. 14, 200 she goats and 20 he goats and 200 ewes and 20 rams, right? A ewe is some type of Slovakia. It's some type of, like, sort of like a llama, but not necessarily a llama, right? But it's like cattle, right? He brought 200 of those and 20 rams to his brother, right? As a tribute. That's what he brought to his brother as a tribute. Right? Again, he was try not to get killed by his brother because his brother is carnal and his brother said he wanted to kill him. Right? And you flash forward, our oppressors have been killing us. And this is why our oppressors are going to be punished when Christ comes. Right? When Yahawashi comes, our oppressors are going to be punished. Right? And they're going to be punished because of the violence, right? Now, let me get it. I'm going to pull it up for you just to show you, because that's what it says. Right? Let's just go to it real quick. Bear with me one moment. We're going to read this precept, and then we're going to go into wrapping up this Sabbath service. Again, we are closing the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And then shortly after tonight, we'll be teaching another class and opening up another feast. It's the holidays, everybody. Let's have a good time. This is a time of family. The whole earth had their Easter and didn't know that it was they're celebrating the god of Istar, right? The mother god, the god of fertility, right? Because bunnies don't lay eggs, but bunnies are very fertile. All right. Listen, I pray you understand. This unleavened bread came from heaven. I pray you understand. Right? Hold up. Let me get what I'm looking for. Right. So Obadiah 1 and 10. Right? Our oppressors have been killing us. And Jacob bought us some grace time. He bought us some grace time with that gift that he presented to his brother. Right? That grace, they started killing us again. Right? They started killing us again. And we're going to show you. This is why the oppressor is going to be punished. Obadiah 1, verse 10. For thy violence, right? This doesn't say love. Violence is not love, right? Violence is not, violence is painful, right? Violence leads to death and murder. Our communities are so filled with violence Because we look at brothers and sisters through the eyes of oppressors. The oppressor looks at us like an enemy. Esau looked at Jacob like an enemy and wanted to kill him, came to meet him with 400 men. And if it wasn't for that gift, right, he would have attempted to kill him. Like what happens to us every day in our neighborhoods. Our neighborhoods are filled with violence because the oppressor teaches us this, right? The oppressor has been extremely violent to us. Just go look up the images of lynching. There are brothers with keloids in their backs that look like some type of Picasso's art. Lines crisscrossing and zigzagging across their back from cattle whips. And they keloid over. That is the violence that Jacob has experienced due to Esau. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Right? There's going to be a time when the oppressor is cut off forever. Right? And this is why we celebrated the Passover and unleavened bread, to remember that the Lord brought us out from the hands of our enemies. Right? These are verses Christians don't ever want to go into. Let's go to Isaiah 14:1 for a quick second. Right? For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And this is what your pastors aren't telling you. Ooh, look at this unleavened bread. Let's get some more. All right? I hope you enjoyed your unleavened bread during this holiday. All right? The Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. Right? We're going to be in our own land. Right now, we're not in our own land. That's why Christian pastors and Christian elites will say, we have to follow the law of the land. I follow the law of God. Now, Caesar wants his taxes, pay your taxes. Caesar wants you to get a license to drive a car, get that damn license. Caesar says, celebrate Christmas, do not celebrate Christmas. Right? God's law trumps that. Right? And you can find that. That's Salakia. Where is that? If I'm not mistaken, don't quote me. That might be somewhere in Jeremiah, where it tells you about the Christmas tree. Right? We're going to be set in our own land, and the strangers. Now there are a bunch of different strangers in the Bible. These strangers specifically are talking about heathens. There are strangers that talk about Gentiles, but those Gentiles are Israel, right? You have to remember that there was a time when if you didn't go to a Passover, you were considered a stranger or a Gentile. Gentiles just slang someone who's not following the truth. Good night. This is such amazing. And the people and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave unto the house of Jacob, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place. All right? The people are going to take them. Which people are that? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Because people took you. Someone took you. Someone took your forefathers and put them into captivity. Someone took your forefathers and your children in the 60s and scooped them up and put them in residential schools. Verse 2, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of YAHANNA shall possess them in the land of the Lord. A possession is something you keep, something that you own, something that you have control over. And this is saying that the people are going to possess people. Good night. Why don't pastors read this verse? For servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Now, good night. This is basically saying that we're going to take our oppressors and have them captives because we were their captives, and we're going to rule over them. The greatest thing I've ever heard. Like, this is the Salakia. I still listen to rap, right? But I used to listen to Styles P, and that brother, he would drop some jewels in his music. And I'd be like, this is the greatest thing I ever heard. Like, I don't need to hear nothing else. Good night, man. We're going to possess our captives, whose captives we were. I ain't heard nothing better than that. Right? We're going to have rulership because we've been ruled over. I ain't ever heard nothing better than that. Right? So with that said, we're going to be calling an end to this Sabbath service. We're going to read some prayers. Again, it's the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and we're closing it out. Good night. Listen, I can eat that thing all day. All day. I can eat this unleavened bread. And it's such an amazing thing. This unleavened bread came straight from heaven. The recipe for this unleavened bread came from heaven. It came from our power. He told us to make that bread without leaven. Eat it with your sword in hand. With your sword in hand. Because someone was going to come through your door to try to kill you. We are in a time of war. And we didn't have to get not a drop of blood on our swords. All we had to do is follow the instructions that was written in here. Salakia. You let me know, priest. You let me know, priest. I'm going to whip it up real quick for you. This is sweet. I'll put some honey on this. Good night. I'm going to save a couple more pieces because I need to drink it with some wine. Just to balance out how the sweetness of it. Oh, wait. And listen, priest, now I was at my brother YAHANNA, right? That's where I stayed for Passover. And we had some unleavened bread that the sisters made. Give those sisters a hand. Because that unleavened bread was sweet. And YAHANNA, he a chef on the low. Right? That priest can cook. He whipped up some scrambled eggs, and I'm putting that scrambled eggs on the unleavened bread and eating, and ooh-wee. Scrambled eggs and unleavened bread with a coffee. And a shot of strong. You can't go wrong. Oh, that was a wrap. That was a bar. With that said, men of Israel, I.S.U.P.K, which means stand. We're going to go into the prayers. YAHANNA, which means turn and face the east. Oh, look at these. Y'all didn't see these? My brother gave me these, man. Good night. The water again, priest. Man, we got brotherhood over here. We got plenty of it. We are rich in this brotherhood. Salakia, let me get these prayers real quick. All right. If you're not facing the east already, Imagine, which is stand, YAHANNA, which means turn and face the east. We're going to go into the Lord's Prayer. The Lord's Prayer, you can find it in Matthew 6, verses 8 to 13. Abanaw, Shabbat Shemayam, Kudat, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malak-Ka, Sabbath, Ratazaka, Hayah, I.S.H.A.P.K, Ba-Rataza, Kawa, Hayah, Bashamayam, Lathundanawa, Lakam, Ka, Yuwam, Wasalaknawa, Kawaknawa, Kasalaknawa, Kawakinawa, Wala'a, Sabayanawa, Banasayawan, Abba, Al-Shainawa, Mayan, Ra, Kaya, Laka, Amalakwa, Wahala, Sahal, Wahasapara, Walaya Aman. What we just read in the Hebrew, we're going to break down in the English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Yahweh. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. I'm going to give a prayer for the power structure. Barakatha Yahweh, Wa Yahweh Shai, Wa Mayak Ka'ala, Wa Alahayim, Matazabya, Alawap Yahanna, Ha Alawapyam, Ha Saranyam, Ha Kwatazan, Ha Kwataza Yanyam, Ha Kaya Yalyam, Ha Kwafyam, Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Tawada Aman. Bless you, Yahweh, and Yahweh Shai, and Michael, and the angels, commanding journey honor, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you, so be it. The Ka, the prayer for power. Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Babakashah, the Thundernawa, the Ka, Yarpa'a, Kamakala, Waka Madawa, Aka, Lataha, Hamatazariah, Haka, Laha Kwayam, Hamatayam, Haka, Alakawa, Hamata'ala, Lagarsha, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Tuwala Aman. In the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out, in the name of Yahweh Shai. Thank you, so be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'a, Ayanya, Ahaharya, Ma'ayan, Yaba'a, Isaiah, Ma'an, Yahweh, Aisha, Shamayam, Wa'arataza, Al-Yathan, Lamawat, Regalka, Al-Yanawam, Shamarka, Ana, La'a, Yanawam, Wala'a, Yayashan, Shamar, Yasha'ala, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al-Yat, Yamyanka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'a, Yakaka, Wayarat, Bala Yala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makal Rai, Yashamar, Athapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Taza'aka, Wabawa'aka, Ma'aifa, Wa'ad Awalam. I will lift up my eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Bless Israel. Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Barak Lanawa, Wa Yasha'ala, Waha Bayasapayam, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Tuwada Aman. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, bless us and Israel and Yasha'ala and the school in the name of Yahweh Shai. the water, so be it. With that said, Akyam, Akwafian, Sar, which means to turn. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the sisters, a courtesy salute to the brothers, and a courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Imajim Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Barakathah, Yadimata. We're sorry to the sisters. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Imajim Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Shema, Alatham Ba'ashem Yahushai, Yadimata. Class dismissed.